Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Putnam County Legislature of October 1st, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I recognize Legislator Goldman.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as I call on Legislator Nasarino for the legislative prayer.
Bless our efforts. We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Roll call, please.
District 1, Legislator Montgomery.
Here.
District 2, Legislator Goldman.
Present.
District 3, Legislator Endizion.
Present.
District 4, Legislator Nasarino.
Present.
District 5, Legislator Elmer.
Here.
District 7, Legislator Castellano.
Present.
District 8, Legislator Sage.
Present.
District 9, Legislator Crowley.
Present.
District 6, Chairman Yonke.
Present. At this time, I'd like to recognize Legislator Crowley for the proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
I'm going to call Yvette and John. Come on up. Come on up. Pleasure to meet you. How are you? Whereas domestic violence is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, including Putnam County, regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. And 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men are victims of some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. In 2023, the Putnam Northern Westchester Women's Resource Center answered 1,095 hotline calls from victims. Since its opening in 2022, the Special Victim Unit, a joint project from the Women's Resource Center and the Putnam County Sheriff's Department, has so far provided safe space for more than 50 adult victims to meet with law enforcement and victim advocates following domestic violence and/or sexual assault incident. And be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and Kevin Byrne and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim October 24th as a Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Putnam County. And with great pleasure, I appreciate all your efforts, and I thank you for all that you do for the men and women in Putnam County who suffer domestic violence. You guys have anything to say?
Sure. On behalf of our Board of Directors and staff, we graciously accept this proclamation. As you've so eloquently expressed, domestic violence affects all of us, and this proclamation is symbolic in terms of our community collective commitment to creating a space in a society where everyone is free from violence. So I graciously accept, and our doors will always remain open for our community, and we're happy to be serving.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
I recognize Legislator Elner for National Fire Prevention Week.
National Fire Prevention Week will take place from October 6th through October 12th. In 2022, there were 1,500,000 reported fires, 3,790 deaths, and 13,250 injuries. The National Fire Protection Association has announced that this year's Fire Prevention Week campaign is Smoke Alarms. Make them work for you. Whereas, install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area like a hallway, and on each level, including the basement of a home. And test them once a month by pushing the test button. Replace old smoke alarms that are 10 years or more in age and they stop responding. Whereas Putnam County is served by dedicated volunteer fire departments whose service we greatly value and appreciate. In 2022 across the nation, there were 94 firefighter deaths and 65,650 firefighter injuries. Smoke alarms have saved lives. Install smoke alarms in your house and test them monthly. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and the Putnam County Legislature do hereby proclaim the week of October 6th through 12th, 2024, as National Fire Prevention Week in the County of Putnam, and remind the citizens to make sure to install and test smoke detectors in your home. Commissioner?
First, like always, I'd like to thank the legislature. You've always been here supporting all the fire departments and all of our effort in fire prevention. This year's theme, every year the NFPA picks a theme. This year's theme was smoke detectors. And like Legislator Elner said, the one important thing about smoke detectors is now they have 10-year smoke detectors out there. So if you haven't replaced your smoke detector with the new 10-year smoke detector, please do. But if you still have the old battery ones, when do you replace them? On your birthday. You have a battery birthday for your smoke detector. Remember to replace your batteries every year. Thank you again. And thank you to the lab every year for supporting.
This time I recognize Legislator Advisio for National Substance Abuse Prevention Month.
Lauren Johnson. Tool Recovery Coordinator and Department of Mental Health, Kristen McConnell. How are you? Executive Director of the Prevention Council of Putnam. And would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Melissa LaChapelle, Prevention Supervisor at Cove Care Center.
Putnam County youth are negatively impacted by substance use with outcomes spanning from diminished academic achievement to safety concerns. The consequences are profound and can lead to a diagnosable substance use disorder. Yet there are evidence-based ways for our community to reduce risks and prevent negative outcomes. This month, we pay tribute to all of those working to prevent substance use in our communities, and we rededicate ourselves to building a safer community, utilizing data-driven and person-centered prevention efforts for all Putnam County residents. By increasing awareness and reducing stigma associated with substance use, we can prevent the use before it starts and increase access to supports and services. All residents can play a role in preventing substance abuse. Parents and caregivers can help by talking to their kids about the dangers of substances. Community coalitions comprised of school personnel, law enforcement, behavioral health professionals, faith leaders, local government, and community members gathering together to address substance use in their communities. We observe National Substance Use Prevention Month. Let us help to address the stigma faced by those with substance use disorder. Be it resolved that the Putnam County Executive and Putnam County Legislature proclaim October 2024 as Substance Use Prevention Month. The Putnam County Department of Mental Health, the Prevention Council of Putnam, Cove Care Center, and all substance use support services in Putnam County encourage all residents to increase their awareness of substance use disorder and the dangers of substance use, the success of evidence-based prevention programs, and to actively support and encourage referrals for services. I think that's very important for the referrals. And, you know, it's so important to reduce the stigma. I know everyone's been working on that for so many years, but there's still a lack of understanding by so many people. How do you address that? Like, how is there something that you would be moving forward that you would?
There's lots of things. Sure. So thank you for recognizing, and for the legislature for recognizing this October. So one of the things that happens when we even do something like this is it brings awareness and helps reduce stigma. And another thing that's really important is language. and how we talk about substance use disorder, and that we look at it, it's a chronic disease, and we talk about it like any other disease, and we treat it as if it was any other disease.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that the person-centered language matters so much. There's this idea that, like, oh, that would never happen to me, that would never be my children, and the work that we all do, both in prevention and along the spectrum of substance use disorders, we always encounter people who think, like, oh, well, I don't want to take a Narcan kit. That never would happen to somebody like me. But the truth is, statistically, somebody in our family, somebody in our community, somebody in our workplace is suffering or is at risk of suffering. And so starting with prevention and using some strong messaging, putting messages out there about support and resources that are available, and encouraging accessing those supports, because like we said, there is a lot of stigma that goes along with accessing those supports. So normalizing, going and getting help, having these important conversations, which co-care and prevention counselors are so great with.
Yeah, and I was just going to add that we, like Lauren said, we do a combination of trying to delay the onset of use, delay the progression of use, and also try to address the harms associated with people that are actively using. And there's evidence-based practices that you referenced that do that. And we really look at all the risk and protective factors in the community, and we strategize that way together. So it's really important.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is the acceptance of minutes for the public hearing, the Rescue Task Force, September 3rd, 2024, and a regular meeting of September 3rd, 2024. Item number 5 is correspondence from the county auditor. There was no activity during this reporting period. On behalf of Legislators Castellano, Nasarino, and myself, as chairman of the Personnel Committee, I'd like to move forward with item 6A, which is the approval of a budgetary transfer. It's for social services, reclassification, and a salary change. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Item 6B is the approval of a budgetary transfer. It's for the Youth Bureau temporary help. It's in the amount of $3,500, zero fiscal impact. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Item 6C is the approval of a fund transfer. Sheriff's Department, it's a reclassification. It's the approval of Sheriff Lieutenant position to Deputy Sheriff First Sergeant position. It's actually a downgrade in this gentleman's rank. Discussion.
This deputy went from lieutenant to first sergeant or to deputy sheriff?
This Deputy Sheriff First Sergeant position.
And the sheriff.
What's that?
Is that?
That's what it says. Any other discussion? Yes.
I think it's important to clarify why we are doing this, and the reason is that no one was willing to accept a promotion to the rank of lieutenant. The reasons that were cited were the current rate pay, the lack of overtime, the lack of ability to accrue compensatory time, and the lack of union representatives. So it's very hard to move into these positions because the person that takes a promotion is actually not being serviced as well with the benefits that accrue with the union position.
Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Item 6D is the approval of a fund transfer, Office for Senior Resources. It's a reclassification, full-time aging service aide position to office assistant position. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. At this time, I would like to recognize Legislator Sage, the chairwoman of the Health, Social, Educational, and Environmental Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Yonke. On behalf of myself, Legislators Crowley and Putnam, I'd like to bring forward the following items. Agenda item 6E is an approval for a budgetary amendment for the Health Department for the preschool to 5 program. This is an increase due to the increase in pricing for the program, as well as increase in when children enter the program. This is something that we have to pay for.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Agenda item 6F is an approval for a fund transfer for social services, mental health, local government unit crisis intervention team. This is an accounting error, just putting the right amounts in the correct ones.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 6G is an approval for a grant application for the Health Department for a new position for the 2025 Solid Waste Manager. We do have a Solid Waste Manager. We have had a Solid Waste Manager. This program will allow us to hire a full-time manager if the grant is received.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. This time I recognize Legislator Nasarino, the Chairwoman of the Protective Services Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Yaki. On behalf of myself and legislators Anastasio and Sage, I'd like to move forward with agenda item 6H, budgetary amendment 24A082, the sheriff licensing software with Tyler Technologies. This is a memorandum of agreement with the town of Kent and the village of Brewster and the village of Cold Spring to share software that will benefit in responding emergency situations. The request is for $31,000 to cover the first year maintenance fee.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Item 6I is approval continuation of the Community Engagement Police Advisory Board. This is an annual request as required, and the advisory board, the Community Engagement and Police Advisory Board had sent a letter indicating that they would like to continue. The advisory board has served as a bridge of communication between the police department and diverse residents of Putnam County. Its commitment to transparency, accountability, and community involvement was invaluable in ensuring that the concerns and needs of our citizens were heard and addressed effectively. They do a stupendous job. I would like to move forward with this resolution.
Discussion. Yes.
No, I would just like to thank the advisory board for their commitment to Putnam County.
I would also like to recognize Scott, Jenny, and Ron for the hard work and volunteerism that they've put into this for the last 4 years or so. They work hard. They have the best interests of the community in mind, and we're thankful that we have good people like them to work for the county, work with the county. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I recognize Legislator Addonizio, the Chairwoman of the Rules, Enactments, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Yonke. On behalf of legislators Eleanor, Nasarino, and myself, I move to 6J, the approval of the fund transfer 24T267. This is, the county attorney has requested a fund transfer to cover outstanding legal services invoices and invoices not yet received for the remainder of 2024. This has been reviewed and approved in the Rules and Audit Committee in the amount of $150,000.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to 6K is the approval of a local law to amend the charter of Putnam County by amending Article 8, Section 8.01, entitled Department of Law, County Attorney.
Discussion. Yes.
So I don't want to have to repeat all the concerns I've already shared in our previous meetings, but I can't sit by as others try to whitewash this proposal either. While some of my colleagues may think they're avoiding a conflict by changing the proposal to seemingly exclude our current county attorney, it doesn't erase the intent or history behind this very proposal, including its retaliatory nature. While there is an active member of the Board of Ethics involving people in this room and in this legislature, this is personal and political. We had 2 Rules Committee meetings with recorded minutes where my objections were shared. Amendments were haphazardly pushed through, but those changes still didn't address the other flaws which should have been fixed before this proposal was even discussed on its merit. This proposal continues to miss the fact that it curtails the county executive's authority in which he or she can remove a public officer, initiating the county attorney without causing its presently a power solely provided to the county executive. This changes that and extends the authority to the county legislator, all while the legislature already has the power to terminate the county attorney if and when he violates the charter or lawful resolutions. This proposal fundamentally changes checks and balances and undermines the executive branch's ability to administer departments, and it's not written with a mandatory referendum.
Any other discussion?
A point of information. We had a recusal twice by a legislator regarding this matter. And I'm just wondering if we will have that recusal again before we move any further with this.
On what grounds?
On what grounds this is the same issue that the person recused themselves previously. Nothing has changed.
A lot has changed.
Oh, maybe some words, but the intent is still the same.
Of course the words changed.
Of course the words changed to whitewash it. The words changed to escape the embarrassment that this whole thing is about, this dogfight. We have work to do. We have a $205 million budget before us this month. We have budget work. The county executive is surely going to veto this. Are you sure we want to spend our time on this? Because what you're doing is just a power grab. You're taking power away from the county executive. He's not going to be able to retain an attorney. It's going to clog up so many things. The county executive cannot proceed how he needs to proceed if we continue to do this. If you deny him the ability to exercise all the powers granted to him as county executive under the law, you're just losing sight of the delicate balance of power we have here. So the question on the floor is, the point of information is there going to be a recusal? I'm giving us a chance here to save ourselves.
I'll allow that legislator to answer when it's time, but I have some things I'd like to say. As far as a power grab is concerned, I mean, that's a nice little tagline that you use. Nothing changes for the county executive. We're not changing any of his authority. The county attorney works for us. We're not a department. The legislature is not a department in the county of Putnam. We're a branch of government. We have the right to confirm the county executive's choice of county attorney. We should have the right to remove that person. It's not, and the county attorney does not serve as other department heads serve. All right? This is the ability of this legislature, the integrity and the strength of this legislature to be able to remove their own attorney. It's that simple. If you want to talk about personal and political, it was personal and political when the county attorney filed an ethics complaint against a member of this legislature after he was, in his words, summoned to a Rules Committee meeting. I've never, ever heard, the previous county attorney was never thought to have been summoned. They were invited to a meeting to either answer questions, explain what's happening, legal topics around the county, but they never felt they were summoned. The retaliation came from the county attorney. So that's where personal and political comes in. If you want to talk about that, that's what's happening. We're going to let everybody else speak before we get back to you. Who else? Yes.
I am in agreement with this. I think we're conflating the issue. I think the comments that are made are based on speculation and conjecture. I don't think one has anything to do with the other. We are an equal branch of government. We should have the right to choose our own attorney. And that's all it was about from the beginning, to give the legislature a voice that they deserve. It has no effect on the present county attorney, and that was done to ensure that the misinterpretations or the misintents were clear, and we were emphatic about that. It was said over and over again, and I think that this legislation should go through. And I will be supporting it.
Anyone else? Legislator Bullman.
Thank you, Chairman. I think this is a bad law. By passing this law, it will be changing the balance of power here in Putnam County. Under the current system, we have checks and balances with this legislative branch and the executive branch. Each branch has its own authority, and we must depend on each authority in each branch to make our government work here in Putnam County. By passing this law, we are chipping away at the authority of the executive branch. What's next? My question is, what powers are we going to go after next? Because of this, I will not be supporting this.
Once again, we're not chipping away at any authority. The
That's
county
the way I
executive.
feel.
Well, then read it.
I
Read
did.
the charter change.
It's
Because
changed
there's
times.
nothing that took anything away from the county executive.
We changed
And,
6 times.
and by the way, your script. I'd like to. We're showing up with scripts now.
So
Yes.
I don't have a script.
Yes.
I got a lot of notes here.
Okay, good.
So, and I believe
Go ahead.
that most of the legislators read from scripts, probably not written by them. But based on what you just said, Chairman, previously, this charter change is retaliatory. Based on everything you just said, we're doing this to retaliate against the actions of the current county attorney. You just said it. You just said this was based on that. And again, a question, we had a recusal twice. There's articles in every paper saying how this is retaliatory. We have minutes. We have minutes that we've approved in previous committee meetings stating that this is retaliatory. This is because of the actions that this county attorney took. So when we want to balance power, why don't we just get rid of the legislature? Why don't we get rid of the county executive, hire a county manager, and go back to a board of legislators? Because that's basically what you're doing while you're chipping away at the charter. I have the floor. You're impeding
You only
the
have the
county.
floor as long
I
as
do
I
have
tell you
the
you have
floor.
the floor.
You're impeding the county executive's ability to his own representation. You're putting him in a position to appoint a new individual to the post and hope that we, the legislature, agree with his next choice. And in the meantime, the county attorney will feel pressure to continuously please the members of the legislature, thereby placing the position of county attorney squarely within the legislature's control and jurisdiction. So the county executive, then the representation of council, and again, you lose sight of the balance of power. So I don't know why our colleague has not recused herself again from this, because she did twice. It's the same law before us. So you got embarrassed and you whittled it down and you changed it because you got caught. And let's just end it now. I object to the consideration of the question. Take it off the agenda. That's a motion.
I'll second that.
It doesn't need a second. I object to the consideration.
That's a statement.
I move to object the consideration. Could you help us with Parliamentary Procedure, Counsel?
Through the chair, I'm not familiar with a motion to object. You can move to strike it from the agenda, which would require a second and a vote.
Okay, again, language, that's the same thing, actually. So an object to the consideration removes it from the agenda. I move to remove it from the agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Legislator Adnuzio.
No.
Legislator Castellano.
No.
Legislator Crowley.
Yes.
Legislator Elmer.
No.
Legislator Goulman.
Yes.
Legislator Montgomery.
Yes.
Legislator Masserino.
No.
Legislator Sage.
No.
Chairman Yankee.
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you. Legislator Nasrian.
Again, I will reiterate, this is based on speculation and conjecture and opinion by my colleagues. This was brought to the forefront because it raised the awareness of the situation. It was not because anyone was retaliating. If it was retaliatory, then this present employee would not be exempt And this law would not take effect until 2027. So we avoided all that by incorporating this language.
Legislator Elmer.
There's a provision in here that I think is very, very good, and we've been overlooking. It says that the county attorney shall not engage in any private practice nor be employed by any private law firm or other governmental entity in his or her field of expertise or employment. I think it's important that when we hire a county attorney, that they work for Putnam County and Putnam County law.
And to continue on that line, the current county attorney is excluded from this ruling, so we're taking that into consideration. So
There's nothing retaliatory here. Anyone else? Yes.
I would just like to also add that it doesn't just affect, we're not just talking about the county attorney, we're also talking about the county attorney's office and its power to help the county and the people of this county. And in the interim, what are we doing? We're just going to leave it willy-nilly and it's going to run itself if we so move to do this? I mean, there's a reason why you're passing this charter change. It's not transparent. There's an absolute reason behind it.
Roll call vote.
Legislator Anizio.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
yes.
Legislator Crowley.
No.
Legislator Elner.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
No.
Legislator Nasarino.
Yes.
Legislator Sage.
Yes.
Chairman Yankee.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to 6L is the approval for the appointment of outside counsel for the legislature.
Discussion.
A comment.
Yes.
So this is, again, related to the previous motion, and it's, again, clogging up government where we should be serving the people, where we should be expending funds and resources for the people, again, on the eve of, our budget discussions for a $205 million budget, where we should be talking about providing resources for our constituents and serving the people of Putnam. We're going to hire an outside counsel for the legislature because of the mess they created. And here we are, once again, serving ourselves and not serving the people of Putnam. It's just baffling.
Yes.
So, in the great words of Nancy Pelosi, where we have to pass a bill so that you can find out what's in it. This is not lawful. We haven't addressed what the matters are and what that we require outside counsel for, what the price tag is. I mean, does anybody know what the price tag is or what we're using it for? And where's the budgetary amendment for the fund transfer on this? We sit here, and these are just notes. This isn't notes. We sit here as a rule of law county that we tout so often, and we have rules and a charter. And why do we need to go to outside counsel when we already have it? We've already been giving it. Why can't we say what we need it? We've talked about foiling for what? That's not a conflict of interest. This is not a legislative proposal. It should be a memo. If a certain body of this or a certain amount of members of this body feel that it's sufficient that we need outside counsel, then write a memo. And you can do your own bidding, but take it into executive session and tell us what the issues are. If that's the case, I still don't know. I know about foiling. The county executive had to basically shame us into videotaping. We still aren't live streaming, and now we're sitting here making decisions that we can't explain. I don't know that anyone can tell us in this room what we're voting on. And it's also 90,000.
I can help you out if you read it.
I read it. I've been all day writing notes and preparing for the meeting. Legislator Yankee.
Yes.
We just approved $150,000
Without a peep.
for
Without a peep.
outside resources for the law department that cannot handle their own workload that's coming out of contingency. We had an executive session last month whereby an attorney had to come into our executive session because the county attorney wasn't present. This was unprecedented in my 12 years when the former county attorney came into every executive session for a settlement. And now, we don't just do a memo to authorize obtaining counsel. That's not the proper protocol to obtain counsel. And the stickler is that the law department, which is right in the thick of things, and we did not create this. This was not created by any member of this legislature, this whole toboggle. But they assigned us an attorney. We should have the right to choose our own attorney, number one. Number two, as an equal branch of government, the county attorney serves the legislature if there's a conflict between the county executive and the county legislature. And his obligation is to the county legislature first and foremost, and that has not been the case. So that's another entanglement that has caused such disruption. So I will be supporting this.
This is unrelated to the previous matter, just for the record. Second of all, if you want to know some details, we have the county attorney's brother foiling for records from our office. Some of those records may be deemed confidential. We don't have an attorney to advise us other than the attorney that the county attorney has recommended for us. There may be or may not be an inherent conflict in that. As chairman of the legislature, I feel more comfortable being able to choose our own attorney. We pick the attorney, not the county attorney, whose brother is doing the foiling. It's kind of simple. It's here in black and white. It's not that complicated. We're not going to go round and round. We're not going round. Legislator Goldman hasn't spoken yet.
Thank you, Chairman. Like mentioned before, I'm not sure what this is going to be used for. It should be specific by saying that someone has foiled, and we don't know where to go. We have, thanks for the smile. Love it.
I just explained what it was being used for.
It's not.
We were assigned counsel outside counsel by the law department.
By the county attorney whose brother is doing the foiling.
Okay. We've been assigned
Where is that?
outside counsel. It happened a few weeks ago.
No, where is it in here that this is being used for foil?
It's not.
It doesn't say it at all.
Doesn't say it anywhere.
That's one of the issues
What are
that's in front
the
of us.
issues? What are
Well,
all
why
of
don't
the
you write it
issues?
down instead of just verbally doing it?
Can we go into executive session or talk about what all of the issues are so we can make an educated guess before spending the taxpayers' money willy-nilly?
I think we
Also,
know,
where
Or
we're going to
before
get
you
this,
make
where
the
we're going to get
decision
this money
for
from?
all of us?
I think we know what it's for.
Let's work for the taxpayers of
please,
Putnam
Jimmy.
County,
Sorry.
not
And
our.
you know too.
You've already had a chance to speak, Legislator Castellano.
No, again, I think we should reiterate this. We did approve the $150,000 that the county attorney asked for tonight for outside counsel. The county attorney appointed counsel to us that we're having a disagreement with right now. I think it's in our best interest that we choose our own counsel in this circumstance. Regardless of what it's about, the county attorney asked for $150,000. We approved it earlier tonight. Now, the county attorney has appointed counsel for us, and unfortunately, we're not in agreement, or at least I'm not in agreement. I'd like the opportunity to pick our own counsel. I think that's
And you'll
only
vote that
fair.
Can we do that
And
as a body?
It's
instead?
within the budget, and everything is appropriate, in my opinion.
I'd like to call the question.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Second.
There were still questions to be
There's
asked,
still-
Chairman.
I have some.
Everybody had a chance to speak.
So you're really chipping away at democracy.
Oh.
This is the dictatorship we have now. Like I said,
Roll
do
call
away
vote.
with the legislature, people. Don't vote for anybody. Eliminate them completely because they don't know what democracy means. This is just a shame. It's a shame for the people of Putnam County that this is how you're spending your time for your own benefit.
Legislator Agnesian.
Yes.
Legislator Castellano.
Shame.
Yes.
Legislator Crowley.
Absolutely not.
Legislator Elman.
Yes.
Legislator Goldman.
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
No.
Legislator Mascherino.
Yes.
Legislator
You're
Sage.
their sacrificial
Chairman
lamb.
Yankee.
Yes.
I hope you're prepared to give sacrificial lamb too.
Don't speak
At
that
this
way.
time,
That's
at
just
this
something.
time, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Discussion's over, I
It's
thought.
done.
Sacrificial lamb.
Chairman.
You might want to
Yeah.
tell us what's wrong.
Mr.
I,
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, okay.
That vote, I believe, was to call the question, or we voting
Yes.
on the resolution?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Call the question.
Call the question, roll call vote on the item.
Legislator Avanesian?
Yes.
Legislator Castellano?
Yes.
Legislator Crowell?
Absolutely not.
Legislator Elmer?
Yes.
Legislator Gulman?
No.
Legislator Montgomery?
No.
Legislator Nasarino?
Yes.
Legislator Sage?
Yes.
Chairman Yasi?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Call on Legislator Elner, the chairman of the Physical Services Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. On behalf of legislators Castellano and Crowley, I'd like to bring forth item 6N, approval budgetary amendment from DPW 24A080. These are insurance recoveries in the amount of $14,419.76, where County Risk Manager Matt Bruno has done an excellent job and has recovered monies from the damages caused to guardrails.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6N is a budgetary amendment for soil and water performance measures. The Soil and Water Committee has voted, Soil and Water Conservation Board has voted to utilize $57,000 of performance measures funds to purchase a batwing mower, which is approximately a 15-foot lawn mower to be used in environmentally sensitive areas maintained by the county, and $20,000 to assist the town of Putnam Valley to repair their Lake Peekskill culvert system. There is no fiscal impact, total of $77,000.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Agenda item 6.0, Department of Public Works for Parks and Recreation. It's referred to as sewer charges, and this is coming from contingency, so there will be a fiscal impact of $22,500. This is for equipment for the sewage disinfection system, and to repair a backup generator, and some additional operating costs for the end of the year.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6P is a budget transfer from Soil and Water Conservation Board. And this is involved with the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets an award for fish cradles to be placed in Kirk Lake and Mayapack as part of an effort to shelter smaller fish in the lake food chain. $6,000, no fiscal impact.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Item 6Q is the use of capital facilities reserve fund. We're amending 19 CP06. This is an additional $50,000 of funding, so DPW can hire an architect and/or an engineering firm for professional services.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6R is an approval for DPW also to use capital facility reserve funds. This is to continue with the roof replacement program, and these are at 3 county facilities. Spain Cornerstone Park, a salt shed in Carmel, and a salt shed in Patterson. This is additional funding for a project that started back in 2019. It's additional funding of $100,000.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Agenda item 6S is also a use of capital reserve funds to amend 20 CP0W. This is for access control. The county has already gone through some of our facilities, in particular the law department, the sheriff's department, Department of Motor Vehicles, county office building, and Donald B. Smith campus, and the Board of Elections. This is so there will be a uniform system, swipe cards, if you will, to get into appropriate areas of the county. This is $20,000 of additional funds for something that started back in 2017.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6T is use of capital reserve funds. It's $25,000 additional funding to continue repairing concrete sidewalks and stairs throughout the county.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6U is the use of capital facilities reserve fund to continue with flooring repair and replacement throughout the county at various county facilities. This is $75,000 of additional funding. This originally started in 2022 and is continuing.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Agenda item 6V is also use of capital facility reserve to repair and or replace door frames, hardware at various locations throughout the county. This is $25,000 of additional funding, 23 CP 13.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6W is for approval for the county to act as the lead agency for SECRA. This is for a lease approval for at the Monroe Balancing Test for an emergency wireless telecommunications facility, which is located in Phillipstown. This was discussed in physical services and approved.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. And finally, from our committee is item 6X, which is we will be granting approval for a grant application for the New York State DASNY, Dormitory Authority of the State of New York. We're applying for a $50,000 grant so we can create the Putnam Veterans Museum in a form of a Quonset hut.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I recognize Legislator Castellano, the Chairman of the Audit and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of legislators Elmer and Goulman, I'd like to bring forward the following. Item 6Y is the approval of a budgetary amendment for the Sheriff's Department, New York State Association Assistance BCI overtime. This is in the amount of $5,609.04 to cover the costs for some courses that were taken by our officers here and put to good use.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6Z is the approval of budgetary amendment for legal services. This is the ATB State Aid Indigent Legal Services. It's state aid coming to Putnam County from New York in the amount of $116,000. Again, we'll put it to good use, zero fiscal impact, as this is state aid.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. 6AA is the approval of budgetary amendment for Department of General Services, automotive insurance recovery. Again, we're covering some costs to our number of vehicles by Mr. Bruno. He's doing a fantastic job. There is zero fiscal impact. This is $864.29 coming to Putnam County.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Item 6DB is the approval of fund transfer for the Office of Senior Resources. This is food and janitorial supplies. Unfortunately, with the uptick in costs and a lot of things, we've got to cover the cost. Unfortunately, we have the money to do so, paying our bills in the amount of $38,178.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other business? Item number 8 is recognition of public on agenda items. Any member of the public wishing to speak? please come forward, state your name and the county you're in. Seeing no public. Recognition of legislators, item number 9. Legislator Adonisio.
Thank you, Chairman Yonke. The Putnam County Department of Health will be holding a residential household hazardous waste drop-off this Saturday, October 5th, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. in my town of Kent, Thornstock State Park, Canopus Beach parking lot. Pre-registration is required. You can register by visiting the website at putnamcountynewyork.gov/health/recycle, or you can call 845-808-1390, extension 43125. These are held twice a year, May and in October. Thank you.
Anyone else? Legislator Montgomery.
So I just have to reflect on what just happened, and I feel like I have to say something. Because the path that we're taking is very unfortunate for the people of Putnam County. It's a real low point for Putnam County, where we've seen an attack on the very foundation of democracy. You saw it in the meeting, like I couldn't even speak more than once. You know, this doesn't happen in real democracies. The democracy is based on deliberation. It's based on the back and forth. And we are not capable. We've never been capable of doing that here, and it's really unfortunate. So that's the foundation of democracy. We've just launched an attack on it tonight during a time when we should be looking how to take care of our districts. This is where we're going. Politics without ethics. Politics without ethics and democracy, and Putnam County government in crisis.
Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you, President. I'd like to remind everyone to get involved in the 2025 Putnam County budget process. See how the county obtains revenue and how we spend it. The process starts this coming Thursday, October 3rd, right here in this building at 7 p.m. Please come hear the County Executive, Kevin Byrne, present his budget for 2025. Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.